Hey guys, we're back in the library today to do another rapid review. Today we are going to be talking about House of Hollow by Krystal Sutherland. So this book I read on audio, which I do highly recommend the audiobook. The narrator has a British accent, which is already a plus right there. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about what this book is about before I give you some pros and cons. I mean, just this plot alone might intrigue you enough that you want to read it. I don't want to give you too much information because I think the less you know about this one, the better. So I will tell you that there are three sisters in this book. They are Gray, Iris, and Vivi. Their last names are Hollow, which, how cool is that? I mean, Gray Hollow, that sounds like the coolest name ever. But Gray is the oldest, and she is a fashion designer. She's famous worldwide, big time celebrity, and she's beautiful. She definitely uses her beauty to get what she wants in the world. And her, the middle sister is Vivi. She kind of tries to hide her beauty. She is a bassist in a rock band. She has a drug addiction. So she's a little rougher for sure than Gray. And then we have Iris, who is the youngest, and she is our main character. She's the narrator, which it's in first person point of view. So in the past in this book, the three sisters all disappeared when they were children from a street in the middle of Scotland at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve when their parents were walking them down the street to watch the fireworks. They just disappeared without a trace, and no one knew at all where they went. And of course, her parents this was like the worst thing that had ever happened to them. This was a huge nightmare, obviously. Well, about a month later, I think it was actually exactly a month later, they showed back up on that same street in Scotland. So no one knows what happened to them, including the girls themselves. They have no memory of where they went or what happened for that month. But when they came back different. So their hair changed color. It's almost white now. Their eyes are kind of more black than they were before. Their teeth look different. So there's something strange going on. And in fact, they're hungry all the time. So you can see where there's also going to be maybe possibly some like magical elements in this book as well. And this is not a spoiler, I promise, because it tells you this right up front towards the very, very, very beginning. But their father even committed suicide because he thought that his children were not even his children anymore. He was like, oh, who are these people? These are not my children. And the internet even had all these different theories about what happened to these girls, you know, that their own parents kidnapped them or that they had some like creepy stalker or whatever. Well, they've gotten over that. The girls are kind of all separated now. It's, you know, present day, and now Gray, the oldest one, has gone missing again. So the other two sisters have to come back together to try to find her, but they start to realize that maybe Gray remembers more about what happened that night than she has let on. And they have to be able to find her now, they're going to have to try to track her down, but also to, you know, in the process, discover what happened to them as children, because it sounds like it's the same thing that's happening again now. So this book was creepy. I will say that. It is very creepy. If you don't I know people call it like body horror. I could see why, because there was definitely some like creepy body stuff, like things growing out of people's bodies, you know, stuff like that. But that makes it really good for Halloween, I can tell you that. It is young adult, so I mean, obviously it's not like over the top or anything like that. Honestly, you can tell from the way I described it that I absolutely love the plot. I thought the characters were really interesting. The writing is beautiful. It's very mesmerizing. The only thing that I would say is a con, and the only reason why I gave this book 4 stars instead of 5, so it's really kind of my only con, honestly. My only con is that the pacing is weird. So the first like third of the book, you're so intrigued as to what's going to happen. The last third of the book is stuff gets crazy and goes like off the rails. It's that middle third though, just when you think everything should be ramping up and there should be all kinds of stuff happening, we keep getting more flashbacks to the past, to when they were children. And it seems like those should have stopped after about the first third of the book, because that's fine to have those flashbacks at the beginning to kind of give us some context. But when it keeps talking about things that happened in the past, oh, you know, going back to showing a conversation with her mother or something right in the middle of the action, you're like, no, just take me back to the action. I don't want to hear about this one conversation you had 10 years ago. So I would say the pacing in that sense it just seems a little bit off. So you just have to be prepared for it to be somewhat slow moving, a little bit repetitive at times. Like if I have to hear another time about how Gray Hollow is just the most beautiful thing in the world, then I mean, it says that seriously like 50 times. So a little bit repetitive, especially in the middle, but the ending makes it all worth it. I don't want to say anything about the ending, but it makes it worth reading, I promise you. So highly recommend House of Hollow. Check it out if you're interested, especially for the Halloween season. And I will be back with another video again soon. Bye.